Okay, so many know that if you've been watching recently, I've been using Drambo a lot more, and I'm loving it and learning a lot too at the same time, because it is definitely a different beast. Um, though, and so what I'm approaching it as is me more experimental vibes than anything else. But I found that you can do other stuff in it too, obviously, once you learn the workflow. And it's kind of there's so many ways you can use it and approach it in a workflow mannerism. So you'll see my main track is here. I try to label these tracks too, so you can see it says drums. So this is, I put the drums in here, and all these are different pages of drums. I'm just putting them all together, right? And then it corresponds to what's down here. Let me take it out of scale. I think I have it on scale. Sorry about that. Let's just go back to chromatic. Actually, you know what? You can leave it on scale because I'm going to get to that. That's what I was headed to anyway. But then you just take this and put this on drum, I think. Or not. Put it back on. We'll put it on chromatic for right now and change the root to back to C the way it originally was. And I'll show you all this other stuff. All right. So we're in chromatic, which is fine. So this is knock, this is EOS 2, just a little reverb on the, so you can see all the drums start from C3. There's nothing on this pad, that's that pad right there. And it starts over here. Nothing on this pad. Then it goes, so it's kind of weird, the layout, I know. You can switch it to this though and use the piano if it helps you. Which actually, I think it helps a lot, especially when doing chords. It's actually better. For the drums, I use the pads though, right, to do it. And so instead of me trying to sit here and drum it, which I could do in theory, press the record and do the drumming, what I'm doing is I'm building patterns. So I might build two patterns, like a 2-bar. This is a 2-bar, right? One bar, two, the second bar. And if you highlight them together, that's 2 bars. Right, I actually have 4, but I built 2 and then I just copied them over to the other 2 and then changed some parts. So the thing about Drambo, I think that is confusing, is because it's primarily, I think it's based step sequencer is what its strength lies in. Though you can hit this and go in and do the MIDI notes and see them, they're right there. The primary thing with this is it's the step sequencer. So if you're turned off by that, believe me, I was at first, because I'm not really into step sequencing type thing. But as I begin to use it a little bit more, I find some value in it, especially when I want to explore and experiment more than just doing like your typical beats that I've done before. So after you realize that it's pretty much just that, and you're just plugging in steps, right? Then you can kind of work with it. And to be honest with you, when I'm on the iPhone or even in Koala, a lot of times I'm just punching in the steps and then adjusting the notes as I please. So you can still do that on here by just going into here, into the step sequencer. So go to the track you want, go to the step sequencer. Well, you can find the notes, there they are. Find the notes, and then you can sit there and plug the notes in, and you can change the velocity. But what I noticed too was down here, if you click these little 3 dashes, there is a velocity switch. So if you turn it on, apparently the way it works, let me see if I can show you how it works. Let me go back to where there we go. The higher you go up on the pad, the higher the velocity. It's kind of like Beatmaker 3 does. But the pads are laid out like this in 16. Same thing as Koala if you have your, I'm gonna call that landscape because I can't think that's what it is. You know, except for they added in the velocity, which I think Koala should do personally. Been saying it for a while. They need to add in, and there's a snap, so you can take snap off and adjust the notes accordingly. But they definitely need to add that in. And people say, why would you use it? This is the iPad mini. I have fat fingers. If I'm able to do it, it serves a purpose, right? If you're going to try to drum it in. But it also, in step sequencer here, where you hit it last, it kind of, I don't know if you can tell, this is lighter gray than the rest of them. So it kind of holds that light gray for you of where you hit it. And then when you hit the note, it plugs it in at that. Okay, and the reason I know is because if you look closely at these, let me see if I can get it still enough. You look, there's a, let's see if I can zoom in. You can see that these notes, particularly if you look at that one, let me see if I can adjust it where you can see. You see that little, how the velocities are all different? I did not manually do that. I'm being dead serious. I did not manually do that. I just tapped it where I want it and then plugged it in, okay? But there's another unique thing about step sequencing that I just learned about, and that is you can play multiple things on one step, and I just didn't get that, right? Because I'm not a step sequencer person. But if you hit this plus sign here, this plus that note can be on the same, they call them trigs, I believe, or triggers, right? It's a trigger where you're going to put it. Okay, so you can have multiple notes playing at the same time. So when you do a kick, but you want your hi-hat to hit there too, you hit there and maybe hit the hi-hat lower because you want it at a lower velocity. And now when you press that, it'll put 2 notches. You see those little green marks there? It'll tell you how many notches are hitting on that, right? And so take the plus off and then continue on with your work. So you might go in and say, okay, I have 2 snares I want to use. I want all of them to have, the snares to have this hi-hat, so I'll hit the plus, and I'll do that, and then I'll put that on the two step sequencer portions where I'm going to have the kick or the snare at, right? And then you could do the same and mix it up. It's up to you. Or you can play it in by just hitting record and then press play, and it'll count you in 4 bars. And you can sit there and play it. So you really have both options with this, and this makes Drambo really, to me, magnificent in a lot of ways, because a lot of times I was searching for, like, where's the Beatmaker 3 replacement or this for that, and you can still use Beatmaker 3. There's nothing wrong with it, but Drambo can go inside of AUM. Drambo can go inside of Beatmaker 3, and you can still use it. So it serves a lot of value in that way. So that's just the drums, okay? This is what they sound like. I don't think I have any chords on there, no. And that's me programming, right? You can add swing. So if you go up here, there is a swing, which I have none on this right now. I'm going to show you something. There's your tempo and stuff. Inside of here too, let's say you want to just work on one section. I like that too, because you can work on one bar and just hit that front bar. They're broken down into 4 sections. And so obviously you can move, I just accidentally put a note in. You can remove the snap and move notes around. But if you hit this little button here, right next to the one to look, here's your velocity, your gate, your offset, your probability, your retrigger, your cycle, and your, I think comp, I keep forgetting what comp is, but I'll get into that in another video when I'm spent a little more time on it. I've only used it like once, to be honest. But probability is cool. Like, say you don't want something to hit sometimes, but you do want it to hit at other times. You got the retrigger feature. Cycle is really cool, where you can set it to only play, maybe it plays the first bar, but then it skips a few bars and something plays. So I use it a lot for leads or melodies and things of that nature, where I want them to drop out. Maybe I want them to come in at the chorus but drop out before then. So it's kind of cool. You can program all that in, and it's not hard at all. I mean, look, you just do that. There's 1, 2, 3. Let's say you want 4, right? And you want this note to hit here, this one to hit here, this one to hit here, but then you want it to go up another, so you can just sit there and make your adjustments. And if you have a bigger iPad, it's even easier, right? And definitely it's challenging on the phone. I'll just admit that up front because of how small the screen is, but I still can do it. So I've done some songs on the phone too. All right, so you have the gate. Oh, the offset. I meant to say that. So let's say you want your note note here to be offset just a little bit, so it doesn't hit right on the. So this is the 1. This is the 2. That mean that this is. Right here, the next one. You want them to offset just a little bit. Now you can manually do this too, by the way. I'm just showing you this thing, but you could, so it's only on the first bar. So you have to wait for it to come around to the first bar. And it's hard to notice it, but it's definitely there, right? Because you set a trigger for it to be offset, and that's a minimal offset. If you just really want to have the full on, and there's a fill button here, and I haven't learned that yet very much, but I'm gonna mess with it. Just take your snap off, find your snares, right? So like in this case, oh, it turned the plus off. I think I still left it on or something. Okay, so here's this one, right? Why is it programming? Okay, but anyway, so there it is. So then you can go in and adjust it alone, and there's the velocity. So if you touch that, you can adjust the velocity. And then there's the 3 dashes over here, which allow you to do a couple other little things, which I'm not going to even talk about right now. But anyway, you get the point. All right, so that's that. I'm going to skip bass because that's something that you play, and you can play it on here too, by the way, if you want to. But here's one thing that I really wanted to show you that I've learned that I appreciate. Why is this? Oh, because we're on step lock. Why is that? What did I do? P-lock step. Okay. All right. Let's get focused on this. So here's a piano. Let me go to the piano. Why is that on? Hold on. Did I lock the... Oh, this is for locking the board, by the way, this little lock down here. Because this board will move, freely move around, which I actually like that it does that. Okay, so you might want to set it and then say, okay, I'm going to lock it. Also, this little plus or equals that's like a 2 or however you want to term it is actually your modulation and your pitch. I can't figure out why this still locks. It's a setting or something I've done, but see how it's locked the chord in where it's beneficial if you don't know what you're playing and you playing on here, you want to see exactly what you're playing, but sometimes it's annoying to sit there and keep looking. I don't know if it has to do with the velocity. Let's see. Nope. Oh, so velocity on here is louder as you go down on the note. Be honest with you, I don't pay attention to it too much because if I'm using scalar or something like that, they have their own little stuff in there, so I don't pay attention. But if you're playing on this for whatever reason and you wanted the velocity changes there, that's fine. So let me show you what I really, really love and have learned. Obviously, you can bring scalar in, and it's going to be better and easier. It's not easier, but it's going to be give you more variety. And if you don't, but let's say you don't have scalar, you don't want to deal with that. You don't have tonality for whatever reason, which you should get if you don't have it, by the way. I'm going to remove this for right now so I get the bigger screen here. And if you look here, there is a scale right here, chromatic and a root note. So what that is telling me is that I can literally go in and pick one of these scales. So I'm going to pick, let's pick something. By the way, I think they should do this. I guess people that may know, they or may not know that Ionian is actually major, and Aeolian, I'm probably saying it wrong, so forgive me for this because I'm not good at pronouncing stuff, but Aeolian is minor. That's your major and minor. So I'm going to go major just for right now. And I'm going to put it in the key of D, okay? So there it is. It's on that. So I'm going to show you in the pad version that you'll notice the note starts with D. It's easier to see in the pad version. I really wish if they're going to do this, though, one thing I would say is make the piano look like the scale too. If you're gonna use a scale where you're locking a scale. So what this is doing You can see the D2 here and 3, or E3 and all that, and then D3, E. Okay, it's basically locking the notes. These are the notes in the scale up to D3, right? And then D3 starts over. So these notes, you can play any of these notes together, and they're basically, hopefully you can see my finger there because I know I got the lights off, but have them off for a reason, to keep the lights from hitting the iPad for some reason. Yeah, going back. So I locked something in here, didn't I? Velocity. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't lock anything that I can take off, because this P-lock is just killing me. I don't understand what it's on for. I'll have to figure out why it's on, and what is it doing? Why is it locking that up like that? Anyway, so you can create chords. Remember the plus I was telling you about? So let's say you want to create, let's go back to the keyboard. Let's say you want to create, we're in the key of D. Let's just do like a D9, whatever. All right. And then you want to draw that in to the first bar. So here's the first bar. So you press the plus, pick the notes, and then you can draw that all the way in. So hit, and if you hold and drag it out, it puts the chord across that. So watch. And it sustains it for all the way there. But let's say, no, you don't like it, so then you just remove it, right? Touch it to remove it. Let's say, let's go back to chromatic. I don't know why, but I really wish, if you use the pads, this is much easier to figure out. If you're not in the pads, it can be a little confusing. So let's do this. Let's get out of chromatic. Let's go to iodian. Let's go back to the pads, and I'm gonna show you here so you can see the notes. So here's your C, D. So these are your notes in the scale. If you're in C major, all the white keys, right? Because that's pretty simple. So let's go to something else. Let's go to G major. Okay, G major. Now I'm trying to show you this because now you have a sharp, right? So you can see where it is. So let's say you want to pick a chord. I'm gonna do some triads, simple stuff, and you want that to be that triad. Now you want to pick another chord, so you want to go here. There. So you just put two chords in, right? Now play that. Okay, but let's say you want to adjust it. You like it, but you want it to be offset a little bit. Because right now we have snap on, right? So it's obviously going to snap it. So you could take snap off. And then over here, they have this button here. You can see that is your select button. Now, I will say I don't care for the select button that much in here, to be honest with you. But if you select it, I mean, it does work. You can slide it over a little bit, maybe to offset it just a little bit. Okay, so it works. And you can use it. Is it the greatest MIDI? I think they could improve on the MIDI. That's the one thing I would say about this, is they could improve on the MIDI. But for the most part, it's still pretty good. All right, so that note is carrying into there because we adjusted it. So we're gonna have to adjust it again because I don't want it to carry in that far. So highlight it, adjust it, go to the next set of chords. And maybe you want to go back to the step because you're comfortable with everything being on the grid, which is fine too, if that's what you feel. So you can start playing around. These are 2 octaves of the scale. So you can start playing around, just picking some whatever chords. Okay. I don't know why it selects other pieces of the chord, but this is what confused. Oh, I have the select tool on. No wonder. User error. All right. Okay. Select. Boom. Now you drew that chord in. you drew that chord in. All right, so now you have that's way off. That's not what I would play. And you can see it's playing that many notes, which is not what I put. I put 3 notes. So there is some weird, I call it weird, glitchy somewhat stuff in there because I did not press that many notes. But it's still usable nonetheless, right? You can definitely decide to not pick that. If you touch the chord, it tells you how many. There's no way I didn't pick that many notes. Okay. So this is just one way to record, and I'm gonna unlock that now because I don't know why it's doing that. Or you can go back and just use the chromatic way if that's what you're more comfortable with. Press C, okay? Just put it back on C because that's what we're used to. And the other option always is to scroll over, add in a MIDI, and then you could use scalar. I have I'm gonna use chord pads for whatever reason. I just want to use that. Not chord pads. Chord pads shows up in there, but it's actually tonality. And we'll just pick some jazz. These are obviously better chords than what I was showing you, but you can press record here, and then you can press record here. Okay, that's probably the simpler way. And there you have it. Now your chords are already in. My notes are a little off. That's definitely the case. I wish there was a way to say grab this and bring it back. But yeah, I don't think there is unless I go into the actual MIDI. That's one thing I would love to see them fix too. Like if I go into here, I don't want to have to go in and do this, but I'm going to snap. Keep that one on snap just because, well, I was going to be able to do that. So let's go here. I think I moved it the wrong way, so I'm going to do this, go back. And that's, I like it, and there's parts of it I like and parts that I'm like, could be just stronger, I think. Okay, take the select 2 off. Like the MIDI adjusting could be a little bit better. Like, I don't know why that's not even playing. All right. Oops, added a note there, didn't want to. Okay. So I'm going to take snap off because this is a situation where I want to be able to move it. And it's not letting me do what I want to do, which is move the chord. So this is where Drambo, I think, in my opinion, is lacking. It's things like this. When I want to go in and do MIDI edit, they could do better than this, you know? Like this selector tool is ridiculous. I mean, let me be honest, it's just straight ridiculous. They gotta, see what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna sit here and fight it. It's really, like I said, it's a powerful thing, but whatever reason, this is more frustrating in my opinion. So there's another tool to work around that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that's a workaround. Personally, that's one of the most frustrating parts of this. If I would have to say so myself, is that I don't like having to do workarounds so much. I like stuff just to work. Hopefully that makes sense. But especially if you're spending money on it, right? It should be working. But I think the Drambo dev is efficient and probably will fix it more than likely. So inside, you can use Atom, which definitely, I'm gonna put 4 bars on this thing. It definitely has a scale lock, which is good, and you can use tonality to record in. I think you do it. I haven't done this much, so let's see here. We'll figure it out, don't worry. There you go. So that's actually recording down here, which is what I don't want it to do, but it also records here. Unfortunately, that's kind of what it is right now. I don't know how to make it not record at the bottom, but I will say much easier editing in this one. And then if you could take, like, clear this out here, right? Clear it all out, and then come in and then just copy it, select all, right? So go to your clipboard and then copy all. So there it is. Should be able to copy it and then paste it down in here. So that's obviously not as easy as I thought that was going to be. I thought it would be a little bit easier, but put the snap tool back on. But it's cool nonetheless. And if you can get your workflow down with it, it's not so bad. You don't have to put it down in here. The benefit of having it in here is the manipulation that you have. But if you just want chords, they'll play from up here. You can turn the record off. Right? Turn the record off. Don't get caught up in this, so let me delete this. Because it's technically only 4 bars, so. And then the other thing you can do, let's say you did this, but you really want to be able to manipulate it to some degree. You can actually record. You can send this MIDI out. Put an audio input, I think is how you do it. And then you go to, where is it at? Generators, and add a flexi sample. Hit record. At the top, there's a little record. Hit monitor, and let's see if it goes through. Yeah, okay, just as I said, hold on. So you could do this, you could hit record. Instead of going instant, you would want to put it on threshold. You can see that, I just switched it to threshold, hit record, and now when I press play, it should record it. All right, so then we'll stop it there. Okay, if you want to edit it, you go in and you grab the cursor here, and you saw I touched the window up top and then went in, edit that, get as close as you can, right? So that you get a perfect loop. Boom, it's close, not. And the one thing about the iPad mini 2 is particularly, is I'm gonna pull the pencil out, is because it can be quite the challenge with fat fingers to do this. And I'm saying that for myself. You want to do it, you probably want to do it like that with a pencil. And you can turn snap to 0 on if you want in there too. Oh, and by the way, so let's say you do this. Now you want to turn something off in here because otherwise it'll keep playing. You don't want to delete. If you touch up here, let me do this with my hand. No, touch here. You can turn off stuff. Turn off the enable. So it won't play there. And now it'll just play from here. So then you turn off monitor, go out of there. And this is technically a one shot or a slice. You can put whatever one you want. I'm going to do slice, one slice. And then just hit play. But in order to trigger, you have to trigger it, right? So all you have to do on a slice, you have to draw it all the way out. If you just do one shot, you don't. That's the difference. So a slice, you have to draw that all the way out, 4 bars. one shot, you just put the one shot in. It'll trigger every time it comes back to the one shot. It'll save you some time if you don't want to do all that extra. But you might want to leave this 4 bar so you don't forget that you have a 4 bar. Okay. I don't know if you need this audio out. It may, and I'll be honest, I mean, I don't want to mess this up. Hold on a second. Let me do this. Let me see. Uh-oh. And I just killed it. Well, I guess we get to try it again now. So we'll enable that, which I don't think you need this enabled right now. We'll put a flexi sampler in again. Go to generators, flexi sample. All right, because I didn't save that recording, unfortunately. Instead of having an instant, set it on threshold, press record, and now when you hit play, we'll stop it there, stop the record there. I don't know why this is, I think it's sometimes like with the iPad mini, like in my fat hands, I can't seem to get things working. There we go. Hit edit, snap to 0, trim. I think I just accidentally deleted everything, didn't I? I sure did. Okay, remove that. We'll do this one more time. Last time, I'm gonna try to get it this time. All right, we're gonna hit record here. So it's already set the threshold. Third time's the charm, they say. So they say. All right, stop, tap in. I'm gonna use this instead of my finger. All right, cool. Hit edit, trim. There we go. All right, cool. So there it is in all its glory. Now you can chop that up if you want and replay it back or however you want to do. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to turn off monitor though so nothing comes through. I'm going to hold this down. I don't know if it's a hold. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Hold on a second. Do that. It's just a touch. Okay, that's why I'm messing it up. So if you want to enable or disenable something, just touch the bar. Don't hold it down. Hold it down to delete. All right. So there you have it. I have it set. I don't know why I set the offset, but whatever. One shot. I'm going to put in the one shot here, which is going to be this. Okay. I think if you put slice, does it play all the way through on a slice? Let's try it. It does play all the way through on a slice. Oh, but it stops when you stop it. Oh, that's nice. Otherwise, it'll keep just playing out. So I think if you put it on one shot, let me see here. One shot. Oh, no. Okay, so let me show you this feature. So in each track, one of the things I like to, I don't know if I showed this before. Each track, if you touch here, you can set it to audio or MIDI. If you set it to MIDI, it will tail off the last portion of that MIDI. If you set it, it's right here, to audio, it will stop immediately. So you have to be mindful of that. If you're gonna use the MIDI stuff, then cool, it'll finish out the tail end every time you stop that track. So I'm gonna just leave it on audio for right now since we only have that. If I was doing chops of this, and then I would put it on MIDI because then we'd be playing parts, right? All right, so cool. So this might be my way of doing things. I might do it this way for some audio, depending on until I get used to the MIDI here, because sometimes the MIDI is good. It works great for like simple stuff like drums, or if you just play like a, sometimes I'll play a lead in here, and then I'll leave the lead, right? And then I don't need it to be, I don't want to go and fix those notes. I just want those notes to be played as is. So it works really well. The other thing in here, and I've shown this before, is that you can slice. So if you go into edit and you go to set slices, you can do detect transients, right? And it'll do its best to detect, which it did pretty good this time around. All right, so let's say I want to do that. Then I'm using this pencil because hopefully you can see better instead of me blocking it with my finger. And now you can set this button here to random. So what it will do if you set to one slice random is it will play every time you tap, it'll play a different slice. So you could do something to this effect. Let's change. Instead of having this 4 bars, let's get rid of this. Delete, okay? And we'll do 2 bars. And what we'll do is we'll space this out like that. And then we'll throw an extra one in there. All right? And just so you can make it like this if you want. Stretch those out there, there. Oops. Okay, you got the features down here where you can slow stuff down, play halftime. I'm gonna leave it regular on this one. You can adjust pitch. This is fun to me with samples and stuff like that. Oh, by the way, if you don't want like any clicking at the front, you can turn the fade in just a little bit. Adjust the offset a little bit, the loop start, end points, all that. Then you can add more features onto the end of it. If you want like extra effects. Like say you want to process, you want to add trying to think of what we could add. Some random stuff to some. I didn't even know it was a looper thing in this. I was just using it just randomly. Maybe not, I don't want that one. So I'm gonna find, I was thinking to find something else to just put on there. Space Fields is really crazy, like no joke. It's all kinds of stuff in here. Like this thing is just wild. I ain't gonna lie, it's wild. Some of it's so wild, I really don't even know what in the world I'm doing. If you can even hear that, how crazy that sounds. I don't know what that is, but anyway, it's just messing around, right? And it ain't stopping either. God. Okay, well, all right. So there you have it. Yeah, a bunch of stuff you can do. You can see how fun it can be. You have to let your mind wander with this stuff a little bit. You cannot be like taking it too serious, because I find the better stuff I make in this is typically when I'm not trying to really make something serious, and then I have more fun anyway doing it. Yeah, so there you have it. You can take it serious though. You still can do all the other stuff in here, but just know there's workarounds for everything. If you have these plugins, if you don't, you might be able to learn to use it and be okay with some of the things that it does as far as the chords go. But just know you have locking features. You got all this stuff in here that you can try to use in Drambo. And of course, explore, because I think that's where Drambo succeeds the best at, to me, is that it's more of an explore ground to try new things. Anyway, that's it for this video. It's been a long one. I'm sorry. I've shown you all the mistakes I made and other things, but the mistakes will help us all grow from time to time. So let's end it right there until the next one. All right, I'm out.